Good morning, world. It is Sunday, November 16th, and we've got big, crazy things coming up over the next month or so, month and a half, 2 months. It's going to get wild. So this morning, being a Sunday, I figured this is a great time to talk about what it means or what it looks like to be a spiritual person living a spiritual life. And I don't know, I haven't recorded for a little bit, a few days or so, week, I don't know. Mostly because my guides and what was going on around me was saying it's time to listen, not speak. So when those prompts come through that it's like, hey, it's not time to talk right now it's time to listen and pay attention, and then I sometimes go a little quiet and disappear from the world, and that's a part of my own spiritual practice and process. Excuse me. So what does it mean to be a spiritual person? I'm going to first preface this with saying that some of the most spiritual people I know are actually atheists and agnostics. And this video could end up being controversial for someone. They might, if you're yeah, sorry for the shakies, getting readjusting. If you're somebody who is prescribed, we'll say, to a particular faith or religion, or you have, deep spiritual practices that mean a lot to you, and rituals and stuff, or you come from a certain culture or faith that brings with it various ceremonies and traditions, this might not tickle your fancy, but this is what's coming through for me to be able to speak to the largest audience, the largest crowd of people that are maybe struggling with what it means to be spiritual, or maybe have this certain picture in their mind and in their heart about what that looks like. And I keep getting smacked with that image, that idea needs to shift, and I think we're slowly getting there. But I want to talk about it today, because being a spiritual person doesn't mean necessarily that you're doing any kind of ritual or being disciplined about any particular practice, whether it be prayer, meditation, attending service of some kind, retreat. It doesn't matter. Pick a thing, throw a dart at it, whatever. None of those things are necessary. Being a spiritual person, living a spiritual life, simply means living from your soul first. Being connected with your inner voice, your higher voice, and your soul. What does your heart tell you? What does your soul push you for? What is it that internally drives you, gives you passion, makes you look for the greatness in things? What are those things? What is that inner voice telling you to reach for all the time? Now, those inner voices that say nasty shit, dismiss them. Tell them, yeah, you have no power here. Be gone. Go away. Because that's not your inner voice, right? That's that other trickster trying to pull you back, trying to keep you from living from your soul first, trying to keep you stuck in the matrix, so to speak, right? Yeah. To tell the rude voices to F off, basically. The ones that are like, you're not good enough, you haven't done enough, you're doing this wrong, why don't you meditate enough, you're not being peaceful and loving enough. Yeah, tell them, go away. You're not part of the assignment. You're part of the distraction, the clutter. What matters right now is that other voice that's telling you you are here for greatness. That voice that is telling you everything is as it's meant to be, and you have the power. You have this inner strength. Maybe you may or may not be aware of it, but you have this inner strength to be able to connect to source simply by centering and settling into your feels, right? A lot of people call it the heart space, right? But I'm just going to call it what it is. It's the feels, because heart space doesn't necessarily mean loving and happy and good times and rainbows and butterflies. It means to feel deeply with your soul, not just your nerve endings in your body, but your everything feeling. And the beautiful thing about feeling, I usually tell people this, if you take the word emotion, right, and you write emotion, and you write it with a capital E, and you put parentheses around the letter E, it now becomes an equation that says energy times motion. Because that's what energy is. It's energy in motion. So when we allow emotion to come through, we allow that energy to move, what happens is it's circular. So if we let out the bad shit, we release it, feel it, and release it, it purges, and it makes room for new emotions to move through. And this is when we're able to find peace, and then joy, and then creativity, and all these other wonderful things that might be evading a little bit. That's what being spiritual means. It means living from emotion. And this is part of the big struggle that humanity is facing right now. It's not about whether or not to be more godly or ascending in a certain way or all these other things, and I might get backlash for that, but it really truly means getting out of our damn heads and getting back to here, getting back to feeling things and acting, not reacting over emotional reactions, right? We're not talking about reacting from a passionate mind that is not grounded in some way, right? It's being able to take time with it, let it feel, acknowledge it, pay attention to it, and then respond to it, not react to it. And it's really it's wild how simple this is, and yet how muddy it's become for people recently. And I know that that's part of the process, because there's a mind shift that's happening. So how did I come to this conclusion, other than, I've spent a lot of time talking to my own guides, my own creator, my own inner voice, etc., of really connecting to that and being like, what the hell's the deal here? I'm a feisty, fiery person, Sagittarius sun, and I have a hard time sitting still and doing the closing the eyes and the meditation and the finding the super quiet peace and everything. I have a hard time with it. It's not easy for me. And I had to find that my meditative space is not there. It's not sitting still. And I think that's partially my cosmic makeup, if you will, and also partially the fact that I am neurodivergent. So to not move my body while I'm processing or things are going through me is, it's dysregulating. It doesn't work. But there are things that I can do that put me in a meditative space, right? And it could be anything from gardening, painting, making beadwork, sewing, or walking outside in the woods in my backyard, which you've been able to see, and just pausing and getting pulled into whatever it is that I am doing. Really just letting myself get lost in that and releasing the rest of the world. That for me is my meditative space, right? So if you have it in your mind that being a spiritual person means you have to look a certain way or do a certain thing or have a certain level of devotion and dedication to even call yourself such a thing, just let that go. Let it go. It doesn't matter. And anyone who has told you different, I don't want to say they're lying, because that's not fair. But they've latched on to what makes sense for them, and that's okay, right? Like, just like if this doesn't make sense to you and you think I'm full of shit, that's okay. Move on to the next video, and I wish you well. But it really is as simple. I have various atheist friends, and I've mentioned that they are some of the most spiritual people I know, and try to tell them that, and they'll think I'm nuts and maybe not appreciate it very much. But being spiritual doesn't necessarily mean you believe in sky fairies. It doesn't necessarily mean that you believe in being able to talk to the dead. It doesn't mean any of that. It literally just means living from your soul. And shit, every atheist I've met is very cognizant that energy is real. Like, really real. So that's just it, right? Everything is vibration. Vibration is energy. That's everything. It encompasses literally everything. So pulling that energy away from the physical and putting it into the sensational, the emotional, that's spiritualism right there, in the smallest nutshell you could possibly put it in. Here's the wild thing. From my travels over my lifetime, I have come to understand that just about every faith, every religion, around the world, choose an era, choose a century, choose a name, throw a dart at a map, and all of them, from what I can tell, the tenets of their faith all boil down to the exact same thing. The exact same thing. And that is that love is the most divine thing to reach for, always. Be that. Every single one of them. And the reason I can say this, little backup story time, I suppose. I was raised in an intertribal indigenous family clan up here in the Northeast in New England. And this is a little bit more common than people outside of the Northeast might realize, and it is due to the fact that our indigenous lineage, our ancestors, they started fighting off the onslaught of colonizing genocide about 300 years or so, 300, 400 years before every other state that was added on after we expanded from the 13 colonies to the United States and started adding on more territories and moving west. Seriously, 300-400 years. That is literally more time than the United States has been the United States. Like, seriously. So our bloodlines are thin. We've barely managed to hang on to them, and because of that, we have found each other and have various ways of grouping and indigenous intertribal family clans, meaning we come from different lineages, but we share enough, and we've come together and created our own ways to keep our our culture alive, even after all this time and after all the damage. So this is common up here, and that was the culture I was raised in, and understanding a different way of looking at the world, and growing up with storytelling when I was a little kid, and hearing the old traditional stories and fables, if you will, as we would call them. And just learning about it and being ingrained, I guess, with a view of how the world is intrinsically connected, from the tiniest cell to the greatest depths of the ocean. Every single thing on planet Earth is connected and interwoven. By the time I started to reach, probably right around elementary school age, I started to become cognizant of the fact that my peers around me were not being raised with the same faith, culture, beliefs, traditions that I was. In fact, it's in the middle of a rural type suburban town, very, very white and very Christian. And I didn't really know anything about that. So imagine everybody that's watching this having grown up with Christianity in your life. Just imagine having no idea what the hell that is, and somewhere around 6-7 years old being exposed to it and being like, what the hell? Everyone thinks this? You all believe? What? I missed something. But that's just it. I noticed that I missed something, that other people in the world had different beliefs, had different views, had different experiences. They were hearing different stories than me, and I was really curious. I wanted to hear. So I would meet somebody, or there'd be somebody in my life that attended a service or went somewhere to worship, or whatever it was, church, temple, synagogue, I don't care what it was. I was there, and it was always, can I come with you? I want to tag along. I want to sit in on a service. I want to hear what it is that draws your heart, draws your soul to this faith, to this culture. And every single time, it didn't matter if it was a sermon or, again, a story. It didn't matter if it was a reading from a book. Did not matter. Every single time, every interaction, every faith, I came away with the same exact experience, the same message. Love is the rule. It is the goal. It is everything. That right there for me, I mean, by the time I was really putting this together, I think I was around junior high or so. It was really just solidifying. This is what I know about religion in the world. This is what I know about spirituality, and this is what's the truth here. And that right there is the essence. It the simplest message. Every single, as we call them, ascended masters, preached or taught while they were here, incarnated on earth. Whether it's Jesus, Buddha, Yogananda, Kuan Yin, they all of them. Be love. Be love to you, your neighbors, the strangers, your enemies, everyone. Be love. That's simple. And what happened? Men felt the need to control other men. And they saw just how strong spirituality is, how important it is to be connected to our souls, to ourselves, to our creator, to source, right? And they said, well, that's how we make sure that they listen to us. They're more concerned about their soul after they leave here than they are about their human body. So we need to take control over that. We need to tell them we're the ones that talk to God, and if they don't follow our rules, because God set them, God made these rules, not us, then that's the only way they'll get there, right? That's what happened. Derailed everything. So now we're at a time where, as human beings, we've come to understand that these systems of power, these systems of government are meant to oppress us rather than allow us to live freely. Even our own democracy here in the U.S., we are literally fighting to save our democracy only 250 years into our independence. We are literally fighting to save our young, fledgling country and keep our democracy. That right there should tell every single one of us that we really weren't in control for a while. Maybe not the whole time, but at least for the last few decades or so, we've been missing the shot completely. Thank you, Citizens United. Anyway, I digress. Here we are. And we know that in order for us to actually have this life that we all strive for, this world of providence where we can just live authentically and not worry about how we're going to pay the bills, not worry about whether or not we're going to have a home or food or a 401k or anything, not worry about this shit, but just live in harmony with each other, with our souls, with the world, with the animals, with everything. Then we have to somehow overcome this need to have select few people making all the rules and calling all the shots. And we do that by living from the feels, by getting back to that, by jumping into it and saying, how can I just listen to this, not as much of this? Because this has been manipulated. Let's be honest with ourselves and each other, okay? Our brains have been manipulated. I have been living in a spiritual space my whole life. I still struggle with the freaking paradox of money. We'll talk about that in another video. That's what I mean by paradox of it. But still, all this time, still struggling with it in my own brain. And that's just because this world, this time, this incarnation for all of us has been a mind fuck. And that's part of the assignment. That's part of why we're here. That's part of why we've taken on this work. It's to overcome the mind fuck and get back into the feels. I'm going to leave you with this last little bit and give you a sense of where I come from with this, because I've got a wild and rich past, and I guess we're going to bite into it one little nibble at a time as we go through making videos. But about 5 years ago, holy crap, it's been that long. 5 years ago, I suffered 3 very, very massive seizures, which left me with some lasting brain injury. And one of the things that became very apparent to me that I was learning to navigate as I was coming out of this, and this was, goodness, it probably was like the first year or so, There's a recovery from brain injury is wild, unpredictable, and never the same between two people. But one of the things that I was having a hard time reconciling is how much cognitive function I lost. I'm somebody who's always been quite intelligent. I was also very, very quick, very sharp-witted, very on top of my game, very aware of about 9 billion things in every direction around me at all times. A little overwhelming, but that's how I was. After the seizures, though, it all slowed way the hell down, and my feels amplified. Now I can look at that and see that this was part of my this sounds crazy, but this was part of my own upgrading for this part of my job here on Earth, for this part of the expedition. I needed to switch sides, and also understand what it feels like and looks like to let go of logic, to let go of the need to remember everything, because I lost a lot of memory too. It's like a cut up patchwork quilt in there. Like someone took a book and like just randomly started ripping out pieces of pages throughout it. That's what my memory feels like a lot of time. So I had to learn to let go of the need to remember past things, and instead be mindful of the fact that memories aren't even real. Right? Memories are these little mile markers we put in our own heads to give us the blueprints for how to construct the right and here and now, because that's all there is right here and now. Which is why it feels real to us, because we keep investing in this mile marker. This happened, and it continues to form our current reality. That's a quantum physics whole other conversation. But the point is that it has become essential at this point in time for us to really get a grip on the fact that right here, right now, is all that exists. Period. It is all right now. It is all here. And that everything is happening now thing can really, really screw people up, but that's the point. That should be the comfort, because that means that you literally don't have to worry about what was. Now, I mean, obviously, karmic things and what you need to work on your own personal journeys aside, because yes, point being is that this is how we're meant to move forward. It's to move into the creator space, the manifester, not the dweller or the fixer, right? So that was part of my journey. Was I had to learn how to let go of this need to remember, let go of my pride and how smart I was and how much knowledge I had. Like I was one of those people where if anyone had a question, I had friends that would call me before Googling, right? And I lost that. All of a sudden, people call me and ask me a question. I'm like, I think maybe this, but hang on, don't quote me just yet. I want to double check. And now I'm looking back in my books and Googling myself and cross-referencing and shit and being like, wait, I know I did that before, but what was it that I did that made it work? Yeah, it became that. So I had to really let go of my pride and my ego and be like, you know what, it's okay. Because I still have my books. I still have the internet. I am resourceful. That's the important part. Not, I knew a whole bunch of shit. Big whoop. We can all memorize things. But it's being resourceful and resilient that is important here. Because in the now, it's all about using what you have to create what you want. So that's it. You want to be spiritual? Be emotional. Yeah, it really is that simple. It's being mindful of where you put your feels, how you feel, what you want to feel, and living through that. What does that look like in real time? Well, here's an idea. Let me give you an example. Walking through a parking lot, right? Let's say you're leaving a grocery store, you're walking to your car, early summer, right? We'll say it's quite warm, but not heat index, heat wave, we're gonna die, everyone stay inside, too hot, but warm, right? T-shirt weather, we'll say. You walk out of the grocery store, you've got milk, eggs, maybe ice cream, some frozen pizzas, anyways, things that are cold, maybe, yogurt, I don't know, things that need to stay cold, you want to get them home as fast as possible. As you're walking out the store, you're headed to the lane on the right to where your car is, and then somebody walking towards the lane on the left, veering away from you, like you're forking, coming both at the same door at the same time. They're going to the lane on the left, and they're carrying their groceries instead of pushing them in the cart like you are. And all of a sudden they drop a bag or their phone or a bag breaks or whatever, and their groceries go spilling everywhere. Being spiritual in this moment doesn't mean to, oh my God, I have to help you and save you. And it doesn't mean I'm going to pray for you that your day gets better. I'm going to send you love and light while you scramble to pick up your oranges rolling all around the pavement. No, it means acknowledging that this person is experiencing something and has begun to experience a crisis right near you, even though you're headed in opposite directions. Recognizing your feels. How would you feel in that moment as this person? Can you help? Are you moved to help? Is there something in you saying, I should stop? It's okay. My milk will be all right for an extra minute and a half. It's not going to spoil that quick. Maybe I can offer and help this person. Maybe, this is the catch here. Maybe you feel it and you go, oh my God, I've been there. And you have the feels and you get there and there's something in your feels that says, this isn't mine though. Keep walking. The difference is understanding what is speaking. Is it fear in your brain? Is it logic? It going, if I stop to help this person, they might steal my groceries. Is it, if I stop to help this person, my eggs are going to go bad? Or, whatever it is that stops you. If I stop to help this person, I'm going to be late picking up the kids. Whatever. If it's the logic things getting in the way, saying don't, that's not spiritual. That's ego. Shut the brain off in that moment. Let this pull you. I know personally when I experience those situations, I can genuinely feel my body pulling me in a specific direction. It literally will block me from moving in a different direction. It's incredible. Just when you really connect to that and let it happen, it's life-changing is such a dramatic way to put it, but it is because it allows things to flow. It allows synchronicity to happen, and it allows you to better connect with your own soul, your own spirit, your own consciousness, because that's all we are, is consciousness. That's all we are. Vibration is consciousness. Consciousness is vibration. It's all one and the same. So this has been long enough. I'm going to cut it off here. What do you think? Feel free to tell me how wrong or right I am, or even if I've just given you some good food for thought and you're going to ponder on it. I'd love to hear it. I think that's the biggest takeaway I want to give you, is there is no right or wrong way to do spiritual. It's yours. It's personal. It is it is so personal. No one gets to tell you whether you're doing spiritual right or wrong. Take that with you. All right? Much love to all. See you in the next one.